Dear Sally Wilkins, I wouldn't even make this video, but from what I understand, you've seen some of them that involve you. But I must say this. You get 1 point, and I gave it to you in another video, that you stepped up and you took ownership of Chance when all of those things happened. So respect for that. On the other hand, you also said he was special needs, then that he wasn't special needs. You couldn't figure out where you wanted him to fit. Special needs allows him to get away with more things than he usually would be able to. Not special needs is so you can hide the shame. So you can say, no, my son isn't like that. They're just picking on him. He's a victim of bullying, not of detachment from reality. You locked him in a room thinking that you were protecting him from the outside world. I mean, in a way, you were protecting the outside world from him. You have to know the disgusting things he says and he does. Sally, you have to know, because the things we've heard that have come out of that household. I don't know what your story is, Sally. I know that you were probably a victim of a predator. You were very young. Then Rupel, he was a predator. And now Chance, whether you want to believe it or not, he has demonstrated time and time again that it doesn't matter how old the person on the other end of the computer screen is. It doesn't matter if they're male or a female. The first thing he does is send disgusting material to them. Now, as a parent who, I guess you're considering him special needs most of the time, as a parent of a special needs person, you would try to do something about it. I don't know if you've ever heard of regarding Harry. I'm not sure if you have, but he does some pretty sexual things out in public as well. And you can look at him and see that, yes, he has special needs. And I understand, if you were getting in a car accident and every injury was to happen on the inside, people would look at you and think you were okay. They wouldn't know that on the inside maybe you've damaged a whole bunch of things, you just can't see them. And I would say that would apply to Chance. But looking at him, you can tell there is something really wrong with him. Sally, you are not going to live another 20 years, most likely. Maybe not even another 10. And what have you done to protect the outside world, or even protect Chance? What plans are in place? Do you have some kind of life insurance policy? Do you have a custodian waiting to take him? Are you just praying that he becomes homeless and then they pick him up and put him in a home? Because, Sally, that's not going to happen. Those homes are full, and they require effort from the people who stay there. Otherwise, they become a permanent resident. The best thing you could do is put him in a mental health care facility. What you don't want to happen is what you know will happen. Even when Chance thought he was in front of a judge, it was fake. Of course it was fake. But he falls for everything. He was vile and disgusting and out of control. And if that had been a real courtroom, he'd have been in jail. Period. No matter how much you wanted him remanded to your custody, it wouldn't have happened. They would have looked at you and said, you are an unfit guardian. Period. We are taking this psychotic, hypersexual, literally helpless individual, and we are putting him somewhere where he can't hurt himself or others. Sally, I'm going to ask you a question, and I need you to answer it. If Chance was allowed to roam the streets, do you think he would end up at a nearby park? Whether there is one there or not, do you think he would end up at a nearby park? Or even worse, a school? Chance gravitates towards kids. He calls out kids in his rap battle. He wants them to cam up and make a diss track, and he wants to have conversations with them. These are children. You've treated him as a child for so long that I think he might believe he still is one. Sally, there were bugs, and still are bugs, crawling all over him. He probably still craps his pants because he's done it several times on stream, and that just doesn't go away without proper treatment. What you've set up right now is for Chance to be on the streets, unable to control his bowels, probably his urine, unable to control his sexual urges, his violent urges, his rage. You've seen it. You have taught him to be manipulative. You have taught him that he can rage and scream and threaten and say some of the worst things you've ever heard. And when somebody shows up at his house, the cops are called, and he comes with whatever size shoulders he has. He comes with them hunched over and his hands out in front. And he says, "Yes, I've been bullied for 7 years." And you've allowed it to go on, Sally. You try to hide Chance now. You ask the cops if they can turn off the camera so nobody can see the bullshit that's going on in the house. Ed says there were spoons taken up into the showers that were constantly ruined. If you knew, Sally, what he's done, if you knew what he's done with other objects, you would know what was done with those spoons. You also have to know that because of those gross things, because of his eating and the bugs and the terrible hygiene and the pooping himself and the fact that he can't do basic math and he doesn't know about money, that he will never, ever, ever find a girlfriend. I don't know if you were hoping he'd find another special needs person that would have the same problems and maybe the state would manage them. But imagine the peace of mind you would have and that Ed would have and the quality of life you would have if you would just put him somewhere that can help him before it's too late. I don't even know your son, and I hate him. He is the most easily manipulated person. Probably, I don't watch a lot of lol cows, but your son is a lol cow. I don't watch a lot of lol cows, but the ones that I do, a lot of them are self-sufficient. They've somehow managed to be out on their own. Chance is not, and Chance falls for the most ridiculous scenarios ever. Sally, look up Lauren Armstrong. Lauren is a willing participant a lot of times. He suspends his disbelief. Chance doesn't know what's real and doesn't know what isn't. He doesn't know how the legal system works, so he doesn't know what to look for. He doesn't know what a scam is, so he doesn't know what to look for, or a hoax or anything. You have prepared him to live the worst life possible when you go. I've heard that you have some health issues, and I am genuinely sorry to hear that. And I'm sorry that your life was not all that you had probably hoped it would. But you lowered your standards so much that you just accepted that you had a degenerate taking money, food, creating a hell that no parent would ever tolerate, but somehow you have. You think you're doing the right thing, but you are not. I'll say it again. He should be in some kind of mental health program, an outreach program, some kind of employment program. They have special sessions or locations where they put a bunch of special needs people together. They work as a team. They do, not like license plates like the police. I don't know exactly what they do, but they have tasks, and they are paid for them. Not a lot, but he could at least be out of the house and contribute. Sally, every time he's left that house, at least since I followed him, he's gotten beaten up. Something bad has happened. He can't even play in the yard. He can't disconnect from the computer. He has fake girlfriend after fake girlfriend after fake girlfriend. He can never get a job unless you go through one of those special programs because of all the things that's out there about his predator activities while you scream he's not a predator. All of the videos and the images that are terrifying to think that a real child would be out there and he's sending them. But he's sending them to who he thought was a child, which is just as bad. You are not long for this world. I mean, in reality, we all aren't. We're a blip in time. If you are sick, do you want the last years of your life to be dealing with a raging sexual deviant goblin in your attic or in your basement? Do you want to deal with what you consider harassment, but I consider righteous and revenge? How long do you think he would last if someone came up to him and said he looked like a goblin and threatened him? How long do you think he would last if he just started screaming, do it, punch me? He wouldn't. And Sally, if he goes to jail, which is what is most likely if he does become homeless, think about what that would be like for him. You could have him in a place where people are trying to help him and trying to get him to touch reality, at least a piece of it. Or you could have him alone, terrified, used, abused, in a hell of his own making that you helped create. Homeless people become invisible to society. And if Chance doesn't get himself in trouble somehow, if another homeless person gives him the scraps of their scraps, maybe he might survive for a little bit. But he's lost to history. The only thing left of him would be all of those terrible videos and the things he's done and said. All you have to do right now is take a stand and say, Chance, I'm not going to be here forever. You can't live in the attic forever. I'm going to need you to get out there and do this thing that I've set up. And Sally, there are tons of phone numbers. Just look it up. Free mental health care, free programs, things to help integrate your son into some small sector of society where he'll have a life when you're gone. But I think you have the same problem he does. He's in denial. He says you're going to be alive for another 40, 50 years. He's going to be alive for another 100 years. We both know that's not true. And you need to ask yourself, if Ed is still alive, is he going to want to take care of this goblin? Ed may look at you and say yes, but it's because he wants to stay in your house. I would run so far away. If I was Ed, I would be gone. And he's in his own situation, but we're not worried about him. I just am telling you that your grandson is doomed. Right now, if something were to happen to you, he's doomed. Your landlord is not going to say, oh, well, we'll just let him stay. I feel bad for poor Chancey Poo. No one's going to give him a handout. And God help you if a troll takes him in. A vengeful troll. Someone who definitely does not have Chance's best interests at heart. You have a choice. And if you do hear this, and you did make it this far, you have a choice. You can try to start him down a path that will ensure he won't have the worst life possible, or you can continue on the path that you're going and just let him descend into a fiery hell that you helped create. Dear Sally Wilkins, fix it before it's too late.